And so one of the reasons that I even started asking for punitive damages is that I actually found out that as a pro se litigant, you couldn't receive attorney fees. And I was like, wow, you can't get attorney fees. And so, it was just a process. And then I found out why you couldn't get the attorney fees. So then I started looking at the punitive damages aspect. So, there are a couple of different types of damages. One is a compensatory damage, and that compensatory damages is damages that you suffered, being sleep deprivation, emotional trauma, stress, duress, and then punitive damages. Now, many people think that punitive damages is actually for you because of something the defendant did. But in actuality, punitive damages is actually to punish the defendant for the actions that they did. You see, when an action is done in bad faith or done with no regard for the person that they did it to, the courts has the right, well, usually it'll go one of two ways. Either the court or the jury will make a determination of what they feel that the defendant should pay as punitive damages. So with that punitive damage in mind, um, it can be three times the compensatory amount that you agreed that they said that they were going to pay you. So if they say they were going to pay you 100,000, then your punitive damage can be up to 400,000, which isn't bad. Hey, and so it isn't. Again, most people say, "Oh, well, they gave him punitive damage." They didn't give the punitive damages to the defendant. I mean, to the plaintiff, because the plaintiff deserved them. They gave the punitive damage to the plaintiff because they were punishing the defendant and saying, no, you did wrong, and this is what we're going. This is how we know you did wrong, and they charged them for that right there. So that's what punitive damages is, and that's why it's given. So hey, YouTube, uh, this is Ken, and today I want to talk about punitive damages and why they give punitive damages to um, plaintiff. Hey YouTube, this is Kenna, and today I want to talk about punitive damages. I had a friend ask me about the punitive damages and why do they give a punitive damages to the plaintiff? And so there are two types of damages that you can receive. One is a compensatory damage, and the second one is a punitive damage. And with the punitive damages is more, the compensatory damages is damages based on how it affects you emotionally, psychologically, mental duress, stress, trauma. And punitive damages is when the defendant has done something so egregious that the court says, you did that with impunity. You did that to hurt that person. And because you did that with that intent, we are going to assess you an additional cost to show you that you were wrong. And so it'll usually be three times the amount of the compensatory damages. So if it was $100,000 in compensatory damages, then it'll probably be around 400,000 in punitive damages, just depending on what the offense was. So there are two types of punitive damages. Well, one's a punitive damage, and the other one is what they call a treble damage. And the treble damage is basically done in small claims court. See, with small claims court, they don't actually have punitive damages. So what small claims court call it, they call it treble damage. And treble damage is essentially like punitive damages, except it's a statutory amount. So like in the case of a consumer complaint, like they have the Tennessee Consumer Protection Act, they have what they call treble damages. And so the treble damages are dictated by what the statute says that you can make. And so generally it'll be 3 times. So even though they don't have punitive damages in small claims court, they have treble damages. And what the treble damages does is that it allows you as a user to collect for a defendant's bad actions. So I hope this helped. This was just something that I wanted to share today, and tell you thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what I shared with you, and if you want to know more, remember just click and subscribe, and then we'll go from there.